Hi everybody, it's Nick McDonald speaking, looking here at the Russell 2000 and the probabilities of where this is likely to trade this week. Starting with a monthly chart, this situation is unchanged from a number of months. I say the same thing each week, but just aware that this is starting to be well overbought and due a pullback back towards these moving averages. I think a sensible place for it to pull back to is back into these old highs around about 735. And we've just had probably, or we're in the middle of we can't say we've had it because we're only partway through the month, but we've got perhaps the most bearish looking monthly candle we've had for quite some time. So for a number of months we've been up and up and up. We had a little slight bearish candle here which we just kept on going up. At one stage a few months ago we had a bearish candle, but it closed the month strong and came back and closed at the highs. And now mid-month we've got some kind of sign of a sell-off and also still rejecting these previous highs. Even though we did get a monthly close above, we're currently back down below these previous highs on the Russell, and just showing some signs here of the potential for that pullback to be occurring. So just to be aware of that. However, when we come and look at the weekly chart, this uptrend is still well intact. If we just zoom out here and have a look, it's been uptrending for a long time. It's had a decent pullback here, and now we're uptrending again nicely. The blue arrows there I've just marked in the higher lows that have occurred. We've each time been continuing to make new highs, which is the definition of a perfect uptrend. What we have here now, I guess, is if I could put a little question mark next to this one, I would. The question mark here is over whether this will be a higher low. The reason we can't call this a higher low yet is because we need to have, like we have in the past here, a green candle break up through. Bullish candle, break up through. Bullish green candle, break up through. We need to see a bullish candle and a break up through the high of that candle to confirm the higher low. We don't have it yet. So this one I'm going to delete it because it's questionable, but it's looking okay at best. It's good in terms of the strength of the trend. It's pulled back into the buy zone, but it's not looking great in terms of there's no strength in the candlesticks at this stage. So it could be another week before I either say, well, it hasn't made the higher low. In fact, it could even break down through here and make a lower low. That would be a very bearish sign. Or if we get a bullish candle this week, then a bullish candle or a break up through one of these ones could actually end up being significant and actually saying, great, it looks like a higher low, it looks like we're continuing on. But for now, there's a big question mark over whether or not we are going to put in that higher low or not. It does look in a good position. Let's come and look at the daily chart, and this keeps that question mark going in terms of, if an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows like we've been in before, well, what we've now got is an area of significant indecision where we've got lower highs and where we've got higher lows. This is a period where I don't really like trading myself, where there's no clear trend. Some people look to trade breaks out of these levels. I don't do that because I think it's very subjective. I'd rather see the significant highs or lows broken. I don't like to see breaks of sloping levels. That's why you'll hardly ever see me draw them on my charts. So the reason I've drawn them there is only to illustrate that there's a period of indecision. There's no clear winner between buyers and sellers. Then when we look at the higher time frames, well, the weekly chart is swaying slightly towards the upside as we stand right now, whereas the monthly chart is very much swaying towards the downside. So we've really got no clear probability here, no clear winner. We've got indecision across the daily, weekly, and monthly. I'm looking for some real probability in our favor. When I look to trade, I want daily, weekly, monthly in agreement, or at least two of the three in agreement. In fact, as it is, we've got all three in disagreement. Let's just go and look at some of the other major spot indices and see if these help us make any decisions here as to whether the market is likely to go up or down. One thing of note on the Dow here, looking at a monthly chart, we've almost got up to this level where I identified this is likely to be the next major support, or in this case resistance area of 13,000. So I drew that line some time ago and said we need to watch that level. We've actually come within just over 100 points of that. So you can see we've got up there, we've come very, very close. Remember, any support or resistance, even though we're looking for a precise point, it's still a zone, and it's a zone. And I'd consider this having come very close to that zone and now starting to show some signs of a pullback, and like the Russell, needing a pullback. So if anything, I'm a bit bearish there based on the Dow, and just coming and looking even at the daily chart here, we've actually started to put in what we've got here is a lower high, and if the Dow breaks down through here, so there's our lower high, and if the Dow breaks down through here, because this was the previous higher low, if it breaks down through that level, which it's holding right now, that's going to be a change of trend on the daily chart. A change of trend there, as we've got up close to 13,000, and as the monthly is overextended, is going to be looking like a decent sell-off. The exact same thing actually happened back here. Look at the pattern here. We had the lower high, then we had the breakdown, we had some support forming at the previous low, then we had the breakdown through, and we had a good sell-off. It's exactly what's happening here now, showing some signs that the Dow will sell off if it breaks down through that level. Looking at the S&P, we're not getting as much of a reading from the S&P this week. It's similar to Dow in terms of this potential lower high and breakdown, so any breakdown through here is going to be a change of trend on the S&P, and again it happened back here at this stage. Not looking as overextended perhaps on the monthly, although still overextended, and also hasn't got as close to where I thought it might get to, up around 1400, but nonetheless it's certainly due a pullback, and there's not really showing any really bullish signs. The weekly chart, like the Russell, is near that buy zone. However, not showing anything on the candlesticks to say that we should be considering buying it anytime soon. That can change quite quickly, but for now it's not looking great. Now, the Nasdaq, on the other hand, is actually probably the more bullish of them all in terms of it's the least overextended from the monthly chart buy zone. It's still got quite some way to go before it reaches any kind of resistance. Looking at the weekly chart, you'll see this old resistance now is acting as support, and it's actually not too far from its averages. It's in an uptrend. It's made a higher low, it's made a higher high. And when we come and look at this daily chart here, you'll see just how it is holding that area. This consolidation we've been in now for a few weeks here, we're really just holding these old highs and we're holding the lows here. And actually, while a break down through that will be bearish, a break up through there will also be significantly bullish. So I actually at this stage don't have a preference on the Nasdaq as to which way that goes, but a break in either direction would be setting us up for a significant move. So coming back to the Russell, we still have a mixed bag. Even having looked now at the major indices, it's one of those weeks where we've got some indecision. I'm probably swaying towards the buy side on the Nasdaq, only slightly, but then on the Dow, I'm definitely looking more towards the downside if we can break down through that level. Then recapping our thoughts on the Russell, well, the monthly chart looks bearish, the weekly chart looks kind of neutral to somewhat bullish, and the daily chart looks completely neutral. There's no decision, no direction whatsoever. So we have no really clear winner. If anything, though, I'm maybe slanting slightly to the downside in terms of looking for a reason to short, and I'll be looking at the Dow to see if the Dow breaks down, and then I'll be watching the Russell here, probably on the daily chart, to see can we also break down here through these previous lows. And if we do, that's somewhat of a significant level. It will be confirmed lower high followed by lower low. I think we could be setting up for a little bit of a sell-off if that happens, and I'll be looking for an entry into that trade. Happy trading all. I hope that helps you trading this week. I know it's a little bit less decisive than usual, but nonetheless we need to see the candlesticks tell us which direction the market is going in, and hopefully by next week we have some more clear direction. I just want to update you on one more thing. The Trader Symposium, which we've updated you on a couple of times on the videos, raising money for earthquake victims. We've brought together some of the biggest names in trading to speak and to educate you on trading and to help raise money for earthquake victims. The event kicks off this week, with the first event being Monday with Mike Taylor. He is New Zealand's leading fund manager, and I think being a small cap trader, even though he trades Aussie and New Zealand small caps, nonetheless his strategies for small caps are applicable across markets and could be quite interesting to you as Russell traders. But then we have a whole bunch of speakers, 25, in fact over 25 speakers over the next 5 weeks, and an event well worth attending, and I hope that you all join us. Please visit tradingsymposium.com, check out the schedule, and make a small donation to the Red Cross, and you'll be able to join us for all of those webinars. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great week's trading. I look forward to speaking to you next week.